guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. And we do a lot of cold steel content on this channel because I am a cold steel fanboy without a doubt. Now, I guess in the I say that I am more than happy and willing to offer criticism toward cold steel. I don't just accept everything they do as the greatest and best that's ever existed. That's kind of my definition of a true fanboy. But I've got a knife here that I want to look at today that really threw me off. This is the Cold Steel Bushranger. I think it's new from last year, 2020 Cold Steel model. And honestly, guys, this is a model that I didn't even bother to look at. I just passed on it right away. And there are a couple of reasons for that. The primary one being that there's one feature here that I absolutely think ruins the knife. It ruins the look of the knife. It ruins the feel of the knife. But that's very, very specifically for me. All right. I was curious about this knife. I'd heard a few things about it. I've heard some people talk about it, but I just cannot get past one particular feature. All right, so I'll tell you what that is as we work our way through here. But what I have to also say up front is, well, I still dislike this knife. Many of you will probably love it because it is phenomenal. This is the best knife that I have ever hated. It is so good that I keep kind of putting it in hand and playing with it, thinking maybe I could somehow learn to like it, but I just can't, even though it has so many great things and does a lot of things better, even than some other cold steels that I love way more. All right. By the way, this knife is visiting from a viewer and fellow knife enthusiast. Huge thank you for sending this along. You know who you are. I didn't get permission to share your name, so I'm not going to do that, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. So thanks a lot for sending this along. The first thing I want to give you is a quick rundown on size and weight. This is 8.5 inches overall, 3.5 inches on the blade, 4 and 15/16 on the handle. Lots of grip area here, 3 3/4 inch grip, and 5.6 ounces, which, while a little bit heavy, is not at all a big deal. And I have to tell you guys that I've been using this knife. I've carried it. I've cut a bunch of stuff with it. It is a truly excellent knife. And at this point, I can easily recommend the knife. It's really, really good. But I dislike this knife quite a lot. Okay. I find one thing here totally ruins it for me, and it is this thumb ramp. It pushes my hand back to a spot. I like a saber grip the most. And in a saber grip, this just puts me in a really awkward spot where I don't feel like I could get much done. Now I can sort of come up here and put my thumb on the back of the opening disc, but that doesn't feel very good either. Now in hammer grip, it's phenomenal. This feels so good in a hammer grip. If I choke up and I use this bit of a choil here, it feels pretty good this way as well. But my most natural inclination is to hold the knife like this, and in that position, this whole area just wrecks it for me. Now, the other thing is, I think this makes the knife look terrible as well. What have I got here for like a piece of paper? I've got some notes here, but I think this looks a lot better. And if the knife looked like this, I would already own one, right? If you just made this flat here, maybe put a bit of jimping along the spine, like what they did with the 8010, right? Something like this, be totally happy with. But in this configuration, I just can't do it. So this knife has everything a great cold steel needs. It's hefty, it's tough, the blade stock is quite substantial, the grind is nice and thin, so it still cuts reasonably well. By the way, this is a fairly abrupt grind, designed for toughness, and yet it still cuts really well. And cold steel often does a great job with that. The only cold steel I've ever complained about this on was the SR1, and I still think the edge geometry is terrible on all the SR1s that I have handled anyway. But this is nice. Yes, it's thick, so if you're going to go slicing up apples or something, it's going to split the apples. But outside of of food prep, this is going to be fantastic. It's going to be tough as nails, and it's got that really nice upswept Bowie shape. Totally, totally beautiful. So the blade is nice, the edge is nice, the grind is nice. It obviously favors toughness over, slicing power, because it's not a kitchen knife, it's an EDC style knife. All right, when I move down to the handle, the 3D contouring feels fantastic. In a hammer grip, this feels really good. Choked up in a closer grip, it feels really good, right? Even reverse grip, this is a really, really well done handle. It fits the hand quite nicely. Even in this awkward saber grip, it's still pretty comfortable. The clip doesn't create any hot spots. It's really, really good. It's also a great implementation of the triad lock. It's thick and smooth and enjoyable, about as good, maybe not quite as good as the AD10, but very, very close, right? I've often pointed out this is the best implementation that I've ever seen of the triad lock, and I would still stand by that. Okay. However, this is nearly as good. Like, it's a big step up. If you've tried a Recon 1 or an American Lawman or something, this is quite a bit nicer than those. All right. So as I was saying, really, really good. Finally, the big story here has got to be this clip. And for some of you who are big Cold Steel fans like I am, you'll know why I'm saying that. Cold Steel, I made a whole video about this, is notoriously bad with their clips, but this one is great. It goes in and out of pocket with no problems. The retention is set really, really well. And it doesn't create any hot spots. It's fantastic. This is how I wish all Cold Steel clips could be. All right. So, everything that a Cold Steel needs, this has, and this does it really, really well. So I like so many things about this knife. I should throw in a couple of comparisons. All right, here it is beside the Formax, which of course is one of my all-time favorite knives of all time. I think I said all time twice there. That's fine. You have to live with it. Recon 1, another fantastic classic knife from Cold Steel. And finally, we brought the AD10 in a couple of times already, but here it is again. All right. Many of the things that make this a really, really great knife also would apply to this. The price point, I think, is reasonable. It's not as cheap as a Recon 1, but it's not quite as expensive, at least last time I checked, as an AD10. So even the price point is pretty attractive. And so what am I going to say at the end of the day? You will probably love this knife, right? If you're watching this and you like this design, you should buy it because it's a great knife. For me, I still hate it. The thumb ramp here just seems completely out of place. I don't like the flow of the design. It looks like it has a horn on its back or something, which doesn't make any sense to me. And in hand, it doesn't allow me to put my thumb right back here, which is where I really want to put it. And so for those reasons, I can't love this, which is truly sad to me because I do love so many things about it. Thanks again for sending this along. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have this and if you love it, because I can totally understand why people would. It's just not going to be for me. Or Cold Steel, if you're watching, please make a version that's just a flat spine here with some jimping along the back, and I would be all over it. There you go, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.